Welcome to Shankar's Daily News Analysis. Today's topic of discussion is these two editorials, and in this first editorial we will discuss about the significance of the manufacturing sector for the Indian GDP and what are the initiatives taken by the Indian government and the impact of that. We will also see few suggestions to improve this manufacturing sectors, and in this second editorial we will discuss about the visit of our PM Narendra Modi to three countries, first being Brazil, second Nigeria and thirdly Guyana. We will see what are the implications of each visit specifically. So without further delay, let's get into today's discussion. So in this editorial, they have explained about the growth of manufacturing sector in recent times and what are the impact of various schemes and initiatives which are introduced by government, especially with respect to the manufacturing sector. So one thing we have to understand is that, so why this manufacturing sector is very important, and there are many schemes which are introduced by government to boost this manufacturing sectors. So we will read about that, and these has high potential. First, by boosting the manufacturing sector, we can reduce the reliance on import. Also, by reducing the reliance on import, we can also create a scope to increase the export from the local manufacturing in India. Also, we have the scope to attract the investment from the foreign countries, and by boosting the manufacturing in local industries, we are able to generate many jobs. By generating more jobs, we are actually going to increase the income of the individuals in the India. So by increasing the income, there is a potential to increase the GDP of the nation as well. And by increasing the income of people, there is a surety to improve the quality of the people. So this is why these manufacturing sectors are very important. So we will see about these schemes and why this is so much significant and what are the challenges we are facing to boost this manufacturing sector. So firstly, let's see why this manufacturing sector is very important. Firstly, as of 2023, this manufacturing sector contributes almost 16 to 18% of GDP next to the tertiary sector. So, under the Make in India initiative, which was launched in the year 2014, we will see about this scheme later, achieved 25% of GDP, which is contributed by the manufacturing sector. That is why this is significant. The second reason is that it forms the backbone to boost the economy considering the export. So it forms the backbone of the export economy, especially in sectors like the textile, electronics and the pharmaceuticals. That is why initiatives like Mitra has been introduced. We will see about this as well in the later slides. So it has a potential to generate high opportunity of employment both in direct terms as well as indirect terms. So by creating many employment opportunity, be able to observe the rural workforce, and we can also address the issues of the urban unemployment. This is the another reason why manufacturing sector is so important. It has also has the potential to boost the ancillary industries. So here they refer to other ancillary industries such as the logistics, the raw material and compounds which are required. So this, by improving the infrastructure and to boost the manufacturing sector, it will also help in urbanization and the growth of infrastructure. So these are the main four reasons which makes the manufacturing sector so important. Now let's see what are the challenges which are faced by India to boost this manufacturing. The first thing is that we are highly reliant on the imports, especially with respect to the raw materials such as electronics, plastics and machinery and other components. By highly reliant on the import, it will increase the cost of production. By increasing the cost of production, not be able to compete effectively in the market. Also, if there is any global supply chain disruption, it will affect the manufacturing in India. And next is the infrastructure gaps. So we require efficient logistics and efficient power supply to boost the manufacturing, but there is a inefficiency in case of India at most occasions, and We have a data that the logistic cost of India is about 13 to 14% of the GDP when compared to the global standards, which is only 8 to 10%. So, we are having an inefficiency here as well. Also, we have complex regulations in the case of land acquisition. We also have complex labor laws. So, this is also creating a hurdle with respect to the manufacturing in India. So, adapting to the developing and smart technologies such as the Internet of Things, the artificial intelligence, and robotics is very essential to boost the manufacturing effectively. But in case of India, there is a slow adoption which is creating a lag for Indians to boost the manufacturing. We also invest less in the R&D funds, so there is less innovative solutions compared to the global levels. So these are the challenges. We also have a lot of labor because of the high population, but we do not have skilled laborers for the appropriate works. That's why India government has initiated many programs such as Skill India to improve the skills of the people. We also have the Kaushal Vishal Yojana to improve the skills of the laborers. Having understood about the challenges we face in the manufacturing sectors, what are the schemes and initiatives introduced by the government of India to address these gaps? Firstly, we have the PLI schemes, which is the Production Linked Incentive Scheme, and this scheme was launched in the year 2020. So the main objective is to boost the manufacturing. This is the framework I said already. By boosting the manufacturing, we will be able to reduce the import dependency and it will create many jobs and it will also strengthen the supply chains. So this is the three main objective. First is to boost the manufacturing. Second is to reduce the import and increase the export. By doing this, we will be able to create jobs, be able to become a global manufacturing hub. This is the main purpose of the introduction of this particular scheme. So under this scheme, many incentives are given to the production people who have met the production as well as the investment targets. So whoever has met these targets, they are given with the incentives. So this will be helping them to boost their manufacturing. So we also have other initiative. One such initiative is National Manufacturing Policy. So this policy has a goal to achieve the 25% of the GDP contribution, particularly from the manufacturing sector by the year 2025. So we already have discussed about the PLI scheme, right? So this scheme mainly focuses on sectors like electronics, textiles, pharmaceutical, and especially the semiconductor industry, as it is highly important in current situation. So this Make in India scheme was introduced in the year 2014 and it comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this has a aim to increase the domestic production and has to create almost 100 million jobs. So this will generate many jobs by boosting the domestic production. So to boost the manufacturing, first we have to address the infrastructure gaps. So to improve the infrastructure, various schemes have been introduced and one such is PM Gati Shakti. So this scheme was introduced in the year 2021 under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It provides multimodal connectivity to enhance the transportation of the manufacturing goods. Secondly, we have a scheme called as the National Infrastructure Pipeline, which comes under the Ministry of Finance. And this scheme has a goal to invest almost 111 lakh crores by the year 2025 in various sectors such as the energy, railways and roadways. Lastly, we have a scheme called as the Mitra, which comes under the Ministry of Textiles, and the objective of this particular scheme is to create almost 7 textile parks which will be able to attract high investments from abroad countries and will be able to create many jobs, particularly in the textile industry. We also have other programs such as the Skill India mission to improve the skills of the laborers. They also provide training under these programs to improve the skills of the laborers. We also have another program called as the Industry 4.0. So under this, it enables the faster and efficient adoption to the smart technologies such as AI, IoT, which will be able to boost the manufacturing sector, and this comes under the Ministry of Heavy Industries. You can quote these as examples to enhance your answers with respect to the manufacturing sector in the mains exam. So talking about the suggestions for improvement, we have talked already. So we will take a quick glimpse of this. So firstly, to boost the domestic manufacturing, we have schemes such as Make in India, which we have talked about, and Atmanirbhar Bharat, to create a self-reliant India and to boost the domestic production particularly. So by promoting the local productions, especially in case of semiconductors and electronics, which are highly important considering current smart world. And to develop the infrastructure, we have the PM Gati Shakti, and to improve many industrial corridors. We can also increase the funding to R&D to create many innovative solutions to boost the manufacturing. So the ease of doing business is also required to improve the manufacturing sector. So we can create a efficient and simpler method to take the loans, to take the permit for the land acquisitions, and we can also have a simpler and a streamlined method to pay all the taxes. We can also improve many infrastructures which are required, such as power supply, the roads, railways, the port development. All this will be able to help the investors to invest in the India, and it will help to create many jobs in the local level. We can also have a single window clearance system to streamline the process. So in this discussion, we saw why this manufacturing sector is so important, and what are the schemes introduced by India, and what are the suggestions to improve the manufacturing sector. So with this learnt information, let's see a mains question. So this is the mains question. You can write the answer for this question and post it in the comment section. We will review it for you. So in this editorial, they have discussed about the visit of our PM Narendra Modi to 3 different countries. First being Nigeria, and second Brazil, and thirdly Guyana. So he has visited these countries in the last month from November 16 to 20, and this has helped us to enhance the bilateral, regional and multilateral engagement. Added to that, it also helped us to address various objectives with respect to the foreign policy, and helped us to showcase the leadership of India, the diplomatic leadership of India. So why these 3 visits are very important? The first reason is this visit to Nigeria, which is located in the Africa continent, helped us to build a strategic relationship with this country, particularly to develop various collaboration with this country, because they have signed almost 3 MOU in this meeting. And secondly, with respect to the visit to Brazil in Latin America, we were able to shape the multilateral framework, especially at the G20 meeting, and helped us to reinforce the global agenda. Thirdly, the visit to Guyana is also important. It helped us to boost the diplomatic and diaspora ties with this country and regional cooperation, especially in case of CARICOM. So this is nothing but Caribbean community, which consists of almost 15 countries as their members. The main objective of this Caribbean community is to improve the free trade in this particular region, and to focus on sustainable development, and to develop shared policies in various sectors such as health, education and agriculture. So the secretariat of this Caribbean community is located at Guyana. That's why it's important. So let's discuss about each visit detailedly. Starting with Nigeria. So Nigeria is located in Africa. So the countries which share boundary to Nigeria are Benin, Niger, Chad and Cameroon. So here is the Gulf of Guinea, and here we have the Atlantic Ocean. Talking about the visit to Nigeria, we know Nigeria is the largest democracy in case of Africa, and it is the 4th largest economy in Africa. So the Nigeria has shared the ECOWAS, which is nothing but economic community for the West African state. So they have chaired this ECOWAS. They also have the same objective to have a free trade in this region. They have also joined the BRICS recently as the partner state. So the visit to this country is very significant. So in this particular visit, our PM has received a national award and discussed cooperation in various sectors such as trade, health, renewable energy, education and agriculture. We have also renewed the joint commitment against the terrorism and extremism particularly. So what are the outcomes of this particular visit? So we have signed 3 MOUs. Even though there were delays, we signed 3 MOUs which help to strengthen the partnership between India and Nigeria. So we also reinforce the growth of Africa as the part of Global South. So the Global South actually consists of the Latin America, the Caribbean, Africa and the Asia. So these are less developed in case of economy and politically compared to the developed nations such as USA and Europe. So we have provided our support to the growth of this Africa. This can be evidently seen with the visit of PM Modi to this particular region. India, which has underlined the influence of India in the global level. So now let's talk about the visit to Brazil. So it is located in the Southern America. The countries surrounding Brazil are Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay and Uruguay. So the current G20 leadership is with Southern America. So when Brazil had the G20 summit leadership, it mainly focused on objectives such as the social inclusion, government reform, sustainable development, which has continued the momentum of India's presidency. The key achievements are they have launched the Global Alliance on the Poverty and Hunger. They have even adopted a roadmap for the MDB, which is the Multilateral Development Banks and their reform. This has strengthened the perspectives of the Global South in the decision making of the G20. So what are the challenges? So the main challenge is the limited progress in the climate finance and the reforms of UN and WTO. So the implications of this visit is, first, it has enhanced the leadership of India in dealing the issues of Global South. The bilateral meeting of India with these key leaders has strengthened the diplomatic ties with these countries. We have also enhanced the focus on delivery of the previously agreed outcomes. So nextly we will discuss about the visit of PM Modi to Guyana. So this has helped us to deepen the engagement with the Caribbean countries because the secretariat of the CARICOM is located as in Guyana. It is known for their energy sources and this has served as the gateway for India to reach the Guyana. The energy source of Guyana as well as the Indian origin population who are residing here has served as the main gateway to reach the Caribbean. The engagement which in these visits are, they have signed almost 10 MOU covering sectors such as energy, defense, food security and digital cooperation. They have also proposed the 7 pillars of CARICOM which mainly focuses on climate change, food security, technology, the ocean economy. So what are the outcomes of this meeting? So this has revitalized the ties between India and Caribbean community because the secretariat is located as Guyana and Guyana has positioned itself as the main partner for India in this region. So the implication of this particular meet to Guyana is it has strengthened the soft power of India through the help of the diaspora ties. It has even highlighted the intention of India to support the regional level energy, the regional trade and the sustainable development initiative in this region. So having discussed the particular region, now we will discuss what are the broader implications of the foreign policy of India. So this visit has strengthened the role of India as a voice for all the developing nations because it has addressed the shared challenges of all these developing nations, be it climate change, poverty, or the reforms in the multilateral forums. Second is it has helped us to strengthen the partnership with these countries, which helped us to promote the economic and strategic collaboration. It has even helped us to set a agenda and have a multilateral diplomacy, because by participating in events such as G20, we can influence the global policy debates on the sustainable development governance reforms. It has also helped us to expand the economic and strategic influence, because the visit to these three countries has created a path for India for the greater integration in the economic and regional level by addressing the issues in various sectors, be it renewable energy, the digital transformation and defense. So these are the broader implications of the visit to India on the foreign policy of India. So with this knowledge, let's see a mains question. So this is the main question. You can write the answer for this question and post it in the comment section. We will review it for you. We have come to end of today's video. If you found the video informative, do hit like, give your feedbacks as comment, and do not forget to subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.